Hello and welcome to another episode of The Bearded Mystic Reacts. Today we're going to be looking at the most famous guru out there named Sadhguru Jogi Vasudev. Now his video is called Who Am I? And it's about Ramana Maharshi, and we'll be looking into that. I guess it's a question that's asked at a university when he did this Youth and Truth tour. Now, Sadhguru is a rather divisive figure in terms of whether people like him or they dislike him. I used to like him, I still kind of like him, but I feel he's got too involved in the celebrity culture. And what happens there is, when you want to go more mainstream, you can lose focus on the truth actually. Which is ironic because he's meant to be giving the truth out to people. But regardless of that, I think he does give some incredible wisdom. I do think that he has an interesting take on things. Whether I agree with them or I disagree with them, I think he's an interesting person in general. So we'll be looking at this video. I was asked to look at it, so it's interesting, and as always, it's an honor to do these series because I get to learn. We're going to go into this. Ramana Maharshi is going to be part of my next episode on my podcast on the Wisdom on Mystics series, which will be releasing at the end of this month. So I think this video is a good warm-up to kind of understand a little bit of what Ramana's teachings were according to Sadhguru. Let's begin with this video and see the depths of this teacher.
Who am I? Is not a question that you ask somebody. It's a question that you ask yourself. You don't know who you are. Is it a small problem? So if this question is burning within you, then you come.
I'm Sadhguru. I'm from…
I guess that was like a little introduction into what he's going to say. And when you look at that, there isn't actually any problem. You know, what he's saying seems to be making sense. Well, the clips in the beginning can always be misleading. I guess it's like an advert. Until you get the product, only then can you make a judgment call. But every advert makes that bag or that item look really great. It's like, for example, I always think about McDonald's. Whenever they advertise a burger, it looks so amazing. And then when you get the burger, it's so disappointing when you look at it. The expectation they give in the advert is not what you're going to get in real life. And to be honest, I'd rather be told something real rather than be told, oh yeah, this is what it's going to be looking like, when that's not necessarily the true picture. So let's see. Obviously, this looks to be a relatively filled up auditorium. I mean, there's only a few empty spaces, but to be honest, it's jam-packed. And like I said, Sadhguru is very popular, so it makes sense that it's jam-packed. They want to listen to what he has to say. Let's see how he goes with this.
From West Bengal. My name is Shourabroto Mukherjee. I have been following you for last 3 months.
Was that a warning?
No. Why, sir?
No.
I have been following…
One thing I must say, to Sadhguru's credit, he does have a decent sense of humour most of the time.
Following you for last few months, and I have been watching your videos, and literally I can say that I'm your fan. But I have one question.
I feel a bit… This is what I mean when a guru gets into the mainstream and becomes really popular. Now, he's saying, I'm your fan. Being a fan and a disciple are two different things. And when we become popular beyond our measure, a guru can't do much, in my opinion. Right now, I'm planning on creating a book about the current and future state of Advaita Vedanta and looking into the philosophy, and that's the kind of premise. So when I see this, for me, when someone says they're a fan, it's a bit disappointing. And this is no reflection upon Sadhguru's teachings. This is just a reflection upon the culture we live in today. They make fans out of our great figures. Like, I'm not a fan of Osho. I'm not a fan of Swami Sarvabhayananda or a fan of Rupert Spira. I am a disciple of each one of those because I learned from them. In a way, I'm also a disciple of Sadhguru because I'm also going to be learning from him. Whenever you learn from someone and you take in their wisdom, you should look at it from being a disciple, not from a point of view of a fan. Again, this is not mocking a young gentleman here on the screen. He's being very honest, and I prefer that. I like the fact that he's declaring to be a fan. But like I said, what happens when we become a fan of somebody, it's more or less an infatuation, or it's a fascination of a charismatic person. So the personality speaks more than the teachings. And this is what is going to be interesting as a prelude to this question that he's going to ask.
That I have noticed that you have said that whatever we accumulate in our life, like our salary, our reputation, our wealth, our body fat also, it's all, we can say that it's mine, but it's not me. You say, I have seen this, and it's extremely logical. Sure, I can say that the house is mine, but that's not me. I can say that the body is mine, but that's not me. Then what is me? Then what is me? If I release whatever I earned, if I remove whatever I earned, then what is me? What is my existence? That's what I want to know.
Why are you asking me, huh? Listen now. Well, what is you?
I don't know how I feel about Sadhguru making a joke out of that question. Again, it may be the prelude. When someone says they're a fan, obviously is Sadhguru going to take them seriously? There is that dynamic. But as someone who should be in their role, so to speak, you are a teacher, you call yourself a Sadhguru, which means a true teacher. When you have this title, and somebody obviously is referring to you in that way, I still feel that you should be in your role. You shouldn't really be making a joke out of it. Why are you asking me? Well, why are you there then? It's a very silly response, like reaction to a question, my opinion, but let's see. I mean, the substance is in the answer he's going to give. So let's have a look.
Right now, what you think is me is just a bundle of thoughts, emotions, ideas, prejudices, philosophies, ideologies, a hodgepodge of many things that you picked up. You're a scrapbook. That doesn't sound good. No, you're a cocktail. Shall we upgrade him a little more? You're a bouquet of flowers. All right.
I like that. That was very nice. I mean, he did a joke, even though this is something said in jest. Again, this is what I mean, the charisma really speaks here. I think he was looking for a wonderful way of uplifting someone. I think that was genuine.
So what is you? This happened at the Cincinnati airport in Ohio, United States. People had lined up to check in at the airline ticket booth. One man just skipped the line and came straight in the front and thrust his ticket. The lady at the counter, she said, "Sir, there is a line." He said, No, I'm in a hurry." She said, "Everybody's in a hurry, you're on the same plane. Please stand in the line." Then he said, "Do you know who I am?" She looked at him, promptly picked up the microphone and said, "There is a man here who does not know who he is, can somebody help him?" So, who am I?
Interesting anecdote. I don't know its purpose. Was it to kind of just create a laugh? Maybe. But again, I don't know. I don't know if it was necessary, but the crowd did love it. The crowd loved that joke. That's important. If you can get the crowd on your side.
Who am I? Is not a question that you ask somebody. It's a question that you ask yourself.
I like that, because the whole premise of asking who am I is an internal inquiry for yourself. However, the person in the beginning asked a question based on something that Sadhguru had said previously, if we remember. In my opinion, what Sadhguru is saying is, yes, even though I said this, but the actual inquiry has to happen by you. Let's see what he has to say in further. But I understand why he said that. But again, I would say it's very important for us to know that this who am I inquiry is something you have to do for yourself. Nobody can tell you who you are. The whole premise of Who Am I by Ramana Maharshi was to, who I am assuming that Sadhguru is going to talk about in a minute. His whole purpose of the question was for you to understand that you are not this body and your mind and its sense projections and the objects that it perceives. You're not any of those things. You're none of the accumulation, as the gentleman in the beginning said. You're none of those things. In fact, what you are is consciousness, is Brahman, the ultimate reality. The whole point is, you can get this knowledge. I've just told you the answer. That is the whole open secret of wisdom. It's mentioned everywhere. It's no secret. It's an open secret. The whole point is, when someone gives you that answer, you don't make another idea, or you don't get bounded by the answer. It's meant to make you boundless. It's to allow you to think more deeper and allow you to go beyond the normal answers. But it has to be done in a contemplation. You have to be thinking about it and understanding who you really are, going through that inquiry. Well, am I this body? Am I my thoughts? Am I my projections? Am I my conditioning, my habits? But who am I? It has to be an intense inquiry. Although Ramana probably gave the answer that all is the self, or you are the self, be as you are, this self. Although he may have given the answer, however, by him giving the answer doesn't mean that you're going to reach there. You can get there intellectually, but to get there experientially, you have to go to that inquiry. And a lot of people, they just think that, well, if I get the answer straight away, I've got there. Enlightenment is when the knowledge becomes your reality, your living reality, not your living thought, your living reality. So let's see what Sadhguru has to say. I think he's going to say something amazing, and he should beat what I just said. Yeah, he's got more charisma than me. But yeah, let's see.
Body. It's a question that you ask yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Make it more and more profound.
Oh, look at the crowd loving that answer, clapping. Did it deserve a clap? I don't know. But I like the fact that he said that he needs a profound answer, and that's a very good kind of warning by Sadhguru. You see, if you look at the people in the crowd, their eyes are more in love with the idea of Sadhguru, not with what he's actually saying. I think, see, there's this idea that basically someone can say something that Sadhguru said who's not popular on YouTube, and nobody will clap. Say if there's a crowd of 10,000 people and Sadhguru was there and some YouTube content creator with a few thousand followers or subscribers, they speak and Sadhguru speaks. If they say the same thing, Sadhguru will get more of an applause and the other person won't. And that's just because we don't see reality as it is, or we don't see the thoughts as they appear as just thoughts. We associate the thoughts to the persona, and that's what creates that response. It's not bad or good, like, it's just the way things are. So this is, again, got nothing to do with Sadhguru, but I'm more or less reflecting what the crowd is looking like. They're all mesmerized. I can see like how many people, they're all like smiling, they're loving him. They really are. And that's good in a way, because you don't want a hostile environment. I think the first one he did, or the second one, it was very hostile. But with this one, he seems really like cool, chilled out. The crowd seems a lot better. I don't know if he's picked the crowd. I doubt it, because it's a university. And it's very hard to control these things. Sorry, I've been rewinding this and giving a lot more thoughts.
Profound. If you had stood up, this is like what you are asking is like a morning prayer, how people pray. Oh, if you go and learn one mantra, your child is doing, and phone also you can attend in between. These days, Even in the temple, priest is attending the phone in between.
I mean, what he's saying is pretty true. Like, how many of us can sit in meditation and focus and not look at our phone? It's impossible. We're always looking at our phones. We're always attached to it. What Sadhguru is saying, in my opinion, we should learn from that. Although he's joking, but actually there's a deep lesson there in terms of the way we conduct ourselves in prayer, in meditation, in the remembrance of who we really are. So I like that. And he's done it in a nice way. You know, he's joked about it and then even like mocking the priests. I mean, what he's saying is true. He must have seen this, right? Or told about it. I can't imagine Sadhguru going to a temple normally. I imagine that he's been told this by his people. Because when you get as large as he has, you won't see the everyday things, because now you know, it'd be, whenever he goes somewhere, it'll be, Sadhguru Jogi Vasudev's coming. So it's a big deal because he has a big following. We have to understand that he's not going to know everyday reality anymore. He will now or less be just told about things and won't actually know what's going on the ground by his own observation. That's what I think. I could be wrong, but that's what I feel. When someone is as big as him now, very unlikely he will know. Like, for example, he gave the airport example in Cincinnati. Whether it happened at Cincinnati, I don't think is important. But the thing is, I don't think Sadhguru is now going to be at that level where he'd be waiting in line to give his passport. I don't know. I just think he may have to go through immigration like everyone else, but I imagine when he's not going to be waiting in line. He's probably traveling first class and has all the perks of security.
Even in the temple, priest is attending the phone in between. All this. This happened closer to Christmas. A lady in Minnesota was praying. It was overheard by the neighbors. She was praying, "Dear God, please this time, last time that old fool Santa Claus came and he mistook my prayers. What I want is a thin, slim body and a fat bank balance. Last time he mistook this." Why I'm saying this is, you please look at all the prayers on the planet. Dear God, give me this, give me that, save me, protect me.
Okay, this is the first step, not really answering the question. I don't know what relevance that story about a woman in Minnesota asking Santa, I don't know what that was meant to represent. I don't know the importance of prayer in this. The who am I question is different. What the guy asked in the beginning is different. Like, either Sadhguru didn't really listen to the question and now is just trying to recall what the question was, or he doesn't want to answer it directly, which he does a lot in general. My point that I'm trying to make here is I don't know the relevance of that. It just seems rather pointless. He's getting people charmed and they're enjoying it, but if you're here and you're giving truth, I want the truth. I don't want any of this. Like, if I ask this question, his answer for me would be very unsatisfactory. I will not be happy with it. He's had 2 or 3 minutes to answer and I haven't got anywhere. At least first answer it sincerely, the question. Like, give you one answer, which he kind of did in the beginning, but I just feel a bit disappointed by it. But we have 4 odd minutes. Let's see what wisdom he will give.
Does it look like something divine or does it look like simple survival? Survival outsourced.
I like that, survival outsourced. Again, Sadhguru is very smart, intelligent enough to know that people are praying now just for things, just for survival, just for their needs, their wants, their desires. No longer are people really wanting to pray just for… Like, the real essence of prayer is very similar to meditation. In fact, prayer is about listening, not about you saying something to God. It's about you listening and then discovering. So prayer and meditation is more or less the same thing. In meditation, you're just focusing and attentive. But same thing, you're listening, focusing. So listening is an important tool. But what he's saying is true. I don't disagree with him on this. A lot of people I know, they've used God, even if they see God as something formless or without attributes, the ultimate reality. I still find that people are praying for day-to-day issues. If you claim to know something as grand as God, then your whole being should speak of this. But instead, I see the people most unsatisfied with life. And they claim to believe in some God, that they have faith in some God. This has been my observation of being on the ground and listening to people. I observe people a lot. And when you observe people, there are issues that arise from that too, because it can make you very critical of other people. But at the same time, it just shows you the reality of that although people say they want the truth and they love the truth or they have the truth couldn't be farther away from them in life. To be really in the close proximity of truth, you have to be a real reflection of it. For example, are the sun rays any different to the sun? No. The sun and the sun rays are one. That's how you gotta be with the truth. The sun rays, you could say, is the shining forth of wisdom. You have to be the one that shines in that wisdom. Like Sadhguru. Let's see.
Outsourced. To survive on this planet, you just need 4 limbs and a few brain cells which work. So right now, Sadhguru, all that is okay, but I want to know who I am. This whole who am I business became very popular because of Ramana Maharshi, you heard.
So, it's really interesting. It's like I can always tell when Sadhguru is going to kind of get really critical about someone. Again, here he says this whole who am I business. Well, he talks about the same things. He has a who am I video himself from 8 years ago. For him to say it's this who am I business started from Ramana Maharshi, actually it didn't. This who am I question has been there from the sages, the rishis of the Upanishads have been talking about who am I. This is a very misleading answer in a way. But yes, one can say who am I has become part of the popular culture in spirituality, in spiritual circles, and Ramana has, his teachings have a role in this. That would make more sense. And then you can talk about actually how it's deviated from what Ramana wanted. Maybe that's what he's going to talk about. I don't know. I haven't really seen the video fully. But you've got to give a real... If you're going to be critical, because I can tell it's about to from his tone, I'm hoping he's going to talk about how people have misunderstood it. So, let's see.
My business became very popular because of Ramana Maharshi, You heard of...
for respect, he does do this out of respect. But again, is this just an outer level of respect? Or is it actually an inner thing? That's debatable for me. I don't know if it's genuine from the tone of who am I business. Because if we know Ramana Maharshi's teachings are about who am I, he created a leaflet, a booklet on this whole teaching, and it's one of his central teachings. If you're saying who am I business, you're kind of mocking the person. If it's like someone turning around and saying, well, Sadhguru, about your inner engineering business. Ramana didn't charge for his who am I teachings. You charge for yours. So when you talk about who am I business like that, you have to be really... Someone may say to me, well, you're picking on the words, but language is key. Language is the key to understanding knowledge. You have to be very careful about what you say. Sometimes I get very careless about what I say. So I have to become responsible for it later on. And I have to also be available to understand someone is going to criticize me. And either I can accept that I'm at fault, or if I feel I'm not at fault, defend it. So Sadhguru, come on man, you shouldn't have said that. You're much smarter than this.
You heard of Ramana Maharshi? He's not a Bengali. So Ramana said, "Who am I?" and sat down there. People today think they don't have to do anything. If they once in a while ask somebody, who am I? They think they're being spiritual. I was teaching a program in Los Angeles.
I agree with Sadhguru there. It's not just simply that you just sit down with the question, who am I? It is a contemplation, like I mentioned earlier. So I agree with him on that point. But now he's going to talk about, again, another anecdote about being in Los Angeles.
They're being spiritual. I was.
Oh yeah, so he says they think they're being spiritual. I see what he's talking about. So yeah, he's kind of talked about the culture. However, I know a lot of people who ask this question of who am I in a very genuine way, who actually ask it because they want to know the answers. A lot of people think that by asking the question shows you're spiritual. No. Genuinely wanting to know makes you spiritual. But yeah, I mean, he's right in a way.
I was teaching a program in Los Angeles. There's a bunch of people, about 150 people, all prominent people, many of them from the Hollywood crowd. And a whole lot of young women were looking similar. They're not sisters, they have the same doctor.
Okay, this is interesting. So, before I carry on, okay, now look at the whole setting. When someone gives an answer, either they can answer directly to what he meant by we are not what we've accumulated in our body, or whatever it was that the original question asked. He could have just answered it, but instead he goes through these anecdotes to kind of not answer the question, but to show his grandeur, I gave a talk amongst a Hollywood crowd. Yeah. That shows more of his stature and why he should be listened to. It's a very indirect thing. And this is what creates a cult personality. For example, if I had received that question, I would answer it very differently. Maybe because I don't have the experiences that Sadhguru has and the celebrity-like stature and status. But even then, if you are genuinely a guru, that shouldn't impact you. But in my opinion, he's not answering the question. He's still going round and round in circles. He's dropped some nuggets of interesting lines, but that's what it is, interesting lines. Now he's talking about being part of the celebrity circles in Los Angeles. I see no relevance of adding that detail. You could just say, I gave a talk at Los Angeles. Why did you say celebrities? And then, people wearing the same dress and they all have the same doctor. I don't know who he was referring to because I know several spiritual groups that do that. So, yeah, I kind of want to know what he was talking about there.
Doctor. And
okay, that was awkward as hell. That one, yeah, I can understand. What was he talking about? Oh, I kind of get it now. The light bulb moment. He's probably talking about the plastic surgery and people doing things to their faces. Probably that's what he's talking about. But again, is there any need for that? It's a bit below the belt type of joke. See, I don't find that hilarious or funny, as much that I need to laugh right now like that. It's a bit tongue-in-cheek, but I don't know. I felt a bit uncomfortable by that, but yeah. Anyway.
And then one of them says, Sadhguru, I'm just teaching them.
Sorry, I just want to rewind that for a second, because I don't know if that was a cute moment or a concerning moment. If you just observe the three girls that are obviously sitting on the same stage as him when he does that joke, let's see, just watch the girl in the middle and how she looks at the other two, or gestures to the other two.
And and then
so she just does it to the person on, I guess, her left. But her face was awkward in the beginning. Then she obviously observes the crowd is laughing, so she better laugh. That's what I think was going on in her brain. And she obviously probably just felt that this was a bit too much. When you hold your friend, either the joke was really funny, or it's like, did he really just say that? And we're laughing because everyone else is laughing. But yeah, Sadhguru's going to drop wisdom now about his Los Angeles crowd.
And then one of them says, Sadhguru, I'm just teaching them a simple 21-minute practice. Why? To turn you inward. Because you're asking this question out. You will not find anything. If I tell you you are an Atman, Paramatman, nonsense, where does it take you? Just more vocabulary.
That's where I have a problem. Because it's all about showing off. I have a 21-minute practice. Please tell me, how many people in the Hollywood crowd from doing this 21-minute practice have become enlightened now? Who have discovered who they are? You see, you have to be really smart to see beyond the facade of the words. Now, he talks about, I'm not going to give people an increased vocabulary. Well, no, you have to point people in the right direction. I'm of the understanding that people need the intellectual understanding. I believe people need to address doubts, address questions. Whatever objections they have, they need to raise them. I'm of that opinion. And I was just hoping that Sadhguru would emphasize this, but in a way, he just mocks it by Paramatma and all this and Atman. And I feel that just shows his lack of understanding. But again, I don't understand. He just went straight into the story. I don't know if it's because I'm stopping it and I'm losing track of what he said throughout the video, but again, I'm actually confused. And I don't know if this is what he does to people. Like right now, look at everyone. They're probably thinking, he's going to say something amazing. And, increased vocabulary. Yeah, I agree with that. To the intellect, that sounds really interesting. 21-minute practice or increased vocabulary. 21-minute practice, that would get me closer. But actually, it's the pointing from the increased vocabulary that's going to give you experience. This is the understanding of non-duality and the whole teaching of Ramana Maharshi, which was a very non-dual practice. So, again, I feel that Sadhguru does not understand this at all. But I can be wrong. I'm going to give him the benefit of doubt for now.
Find anything. If I tell you you are an Atman, Paramatman, nonsense, where does it take you? Just more vocabulary. See, if I tell you you are a soul, you are a divine entity, you are Atman, you are Paramatman, you didn't get anywhere. You just got more nonsensical vocabulary.
So, this is where I have an issue. This guy is meant to be the celebrity or the figure of Hinduism, the face of Hinduism in the West, right now. But I just named two people, and I'll tell you that basically he's mocking these two people. One is Swami Vivekananda, and the other one is Paramahansa Yogananda. Why I say that? They brought Hinduism to the West. They taught people about being divine beings, being the Atman, being Paramatma, being Brahman. They gave that teaching. It's not nonsense. And you claim to be someone who wants to defend Hinduism and spread Hinduism. That's his whole thing. Yet, you're now kind of mocking our whole scriptures and texts because they all point to this. And this is where you have to be really smart and really dissect what he has said, because when someone does that, your authority should come from the scriptures. Yeah, that's where the authority should lead to. You cannot be the authority. The authority is the scriptures. Adi Shankaraji was not the authority. The authority were the scriptures, and he emphasized their authority. That's what he did. Obviously now he's an authority figure in Hinduism because of his humility of bringing the text at the forefront. Same, with my podcast, the authority is the text, not me. I just give my thoughts and opinions and my limited understanding, but the authority is the text. Yeah, we've been looking at the Bhagavad Gita. Sri Krishna is the authority, not me. And what's happening here is he's swapping authorities. And you have to be really smart to understand this. Is the wisdom the authority or the person? Now he talks about a 21-minute practice. But at the end of the day, the practice won't be the authority. It will be him giving the practice. The person who gives the practice is the authority. So you have to be really critical in your thinking to understand these little points. Again, if I watched this video without doing a reaction, I probably wouldn't have had these thoughts. They wouldn't have been as refined as they are right now because I have to do this. But like I said, I've liked some of his answers. Some one-liners have been nice. But overall, a lot of it is just blabbering, not really getting to the meat of the answer. Now, obviously, Ramana did say, you are the Atman. He did point towards this, you are the self. But now what he's saying is that all that Ramana did is nonsense. That's basically what he's saying. And I think that is incredibly rude and arrogant. Ramana was a very humble person. And he didn't go around in a helicopter and drive 4x4s and rent RVs and anything like that. He kept himself simple. He served other people. So this is the difference between when you look at someone like Ramana and you look at Sadhguru. I know that people aren't going to appreciate the criticism here because Sadhguru is loved by a lot of people. But like I said, I like some things you said, but some things you said is very troublesome.
You just got more nonsensical vocabulary. That's all you got. So I said, we're teaching you a simple process, 21 minutes, how to turn inward. But you're telling us all this 21 minutes we have to do all this, but Ramana Maharshi said, you don't have to do anything. I said, whoa, Ramana got to Los Angeles?
See, this is what I'm talking about. Now somebody genuinely asks, but Ramana said this, yeah, because you're propping up your 21-minute thing. People should have questions about it. And Ramana has inspired a lot of people. So there's a reason why they're going to be holding Ramana as a higher authority. It's just what goes with time and the fact that he has a body of work too. But, okay, Ramana actually didn't say, you just need to do this. He understood that that was not for everybody. However, he would tell people to just focus. He would bring people to the point where they have to be attentive. So he knew how to build things up. If you read Paul Brunton's work, I can't remember the name of the book, but I will recall it and I'll put it in the video description. He does talk about that. And I'll even post a link to the Whoami book so you can read it for yourself. But in my opinion, Ramana was an incredible figure. If you listen to what Paul Brunton, a Westerner who goes to India and finds Ramana and sees that grace that flows from him, Sadhguru shouldn't be saying the things he's saying, But I guess he's right in a way, because people have misunderstood the teachings of Ramana Maharshi, and he's right in that, very correct. But at the same time, it's a bit troublesome. There are some issues I have. But let's see.
But Ramana Maharshi said, you don't have to do anything. I said, whoa, Ramana got to Los Angeles? But Ramana did nothing, that's a fact. He simply sat like that, cross-legged. Simply doing nothing, absolutely.
But that's not the way he got to enlightenment. Although yes, he didn't do any prior practice that we know of in that lifetime, but probably in previous lifetimes he's done a lot of devotion. Yes, but at 16 years old, he had this overwhelming fear of death, and all he did was he just watched that thought. That's what he did. So yes, when Sadhguru's right, he just sat what appears to be doing nothing, but he still functioned in the ashram when he had to. Yeah, initially he was just in a cave and didn't want anything to do with life. That's true. But later on, he was more of a figure that helped people. But yeah, for him, he just watched that thought that created that fear of death and let that absorb him. He just watched it, and then he got to the other side. And we see the beauty that has occurred from there on. So, yeah, I see what Sadhguru's saying, though. Nobody is willing in today's day and age to do that. So he is right, like in principle, he is right there.
Nothing, that's a fact. He simply sat like that, cross-legged. Simply doing nothing, absolutely. Rodents came and bit and ate his flesh. It festered, wounds, became worm-infected. He simply sat doing nothing. If you can do that kind of doing nothing, immediately there is an answer, all right? But now in California, they made like this, if a mosquito bites, they'll call 911. Yes, that's how it is. In this state…
I don't know if that's true. If people do that in Los Angeles, that every person just gets a mosquito bite and suddenly calling 911. But I see what he's talking about. Ramana was beyond the body, so it kind of makes sense. That's what he's hinting upon. But yeah, don't mock people from Los Angeles. They give you a lot of money, Sadhguru.
You don't ask. So right now, if this is an existential question, this is not a small question. You don't know who you are. Is it a small problem? Huh? It is a fundamental problem, isn't it? And you're getting up and introducing yourself, where you, Bengal you come from and everything. And now you're asking the question is not matured yet. If you stood up and you could not ask question and tears came to you, I would have answered this question completely differently.
Well, this is where I think I have an issue. The person, I felt, did ask a genuine question. Yeah, he talked about where he's from. He probably has to say he's from Bengal or he's from this university or whatever. Of course he had to. And then he talked about your teaching that you gave. So, and then he says, if you just stood there and tears started flowing, then he would have answered it differently. No, you would have probably mocked that too. I don't really believe him that that's the case. In my opinion, a guru wouldn't have answered that way. They would have answered it with a bit more maturity, in my opinion. I feel he never answered it. He didn't want to answer it. Instead, he kind of mocked Ramana Maharshi's teaching in a weird way. Basically, Sadhguru he doesn't go far enough where it can become a problem with whatever he says. That is smart. But again, he doesn't tell the complete truth. Okay, Ramana had whatever wounds from being bitten. But talk about what happens afterwards as well. You just gave a partial picture. And then you kind of criticize the person who asked you the question. If you're there, youth and truth, give them the truth. Don't go round and round and round. That's my opinion. And like I said, a lot of people look up to Sadhguru, and when I looked at this, Sadhguru and Ramana Maharshi's Who Am I, the title, and it's about spiritual life here, I'm sorry, I'm expecting something deep. But instead, all I got was nothing. Like literally nothing. One or two lines where I feel that he gives one or two lines in each videos, and I think that gets people to watch other videos, and then they jump to another video because of the algorithm. I know this is very critical of him, but I wanted to say something nice about him. But it's a bit of a shame. So now he criticises poor boy who asked the question. Forget knowing who you are. No point. Go back home. Go to Los Angeles and call 911. Or do the 21-minute course is what you should be doing. Not asking who am I. Disappointing. But again, I understand Sadhguru's kind of response too, because he did say he was a fan.
Question is not matured yet. If you stood up and you could not ask question and tears came to you, I would have answered this question completely differently. But now it's a joke, so I'm joking with you. Is that okay?
Now it's a joke, so I'm joking with you. I don't think the kid was joking. Okay, let's look back at the question, because maybe I missed something.
I'm Sadhguru. I am from West Bengal. My name is Shourabroto Mukherjee. I have been following you for last 3 months.
Was that a warning?
No. Why, sir?
No.
I have been following you for last few months, and I have been watching your videos, and literally I can say that I'm your fan. But I have one question, that I have noticed that you have said that whatever we accumulate in our life, like our salary, our reputation, our wealth, our body fat also, it's all, we can say that it's mine, but it's not me. You say, I have seen this, and it's extremely logical. Sure, I can say that the house is mine, but that's not me. I can say that the body is mine, but that's not me. Then what is me? If I release whatever I earned, if I remove whatever I earned, then what is me? What is my existence? That's what I want to know.
He wasn't joking. He was being serious. Sadhguru made a joke once he said, I've been following you for 3 months or whatever, or a few months. Then Sadhguru said a joke. So, the boy wasn't joking. And to be honest, if I was a boy, yeah, of course, if he says he's from West Bengal, what is the problem with that? You know, in my opinion, the boy has less of an ego than Sadhguru. Looking at this now, objectively, what a shame. An absolute shame this is. If I was a kid, I would say I'm not happy with him saying it's a joke.
The question is not matured yet. If you stood up and you could not ask question and tears came to you, I would have answered this question completely differently. But now it's a joke, so I'm joking with you.
The other thing, he says that he doesn't know if the question is matured enough. This is the first time you met the person. You do not know his life. You're not all-knowing. So, I would say the mature response would be that you think that somebody has done a bit of their homework. Or you ask another question to get to know where they are, how much they feel. From his question, he had a deep understanding. Yeah? He says, you're not your reputation, you're not your wealth. Yeah, you can say it's my wealth, but it's not who you are. It was a very genuine question. So, why Sadhguru answered in such a way, I don't know. It's really shameful. But yeah.
But now it's a joke, so I'm joking with you. Is that okay? Huh? Question is…
He was not okay. He was not okay. I mean, I feel bad for the kid. I mean, they shouldn't have shown the camera on the kid. He was obviously not okay. with that. And I wouldn't be, because what he's saying is, okay, think about it. Whether the person is joking or not, the questioner, to say that they're joking when they're asking a question is kind of mocking them. You're putting them down. That's not good. That's not right. But let's see in his infinite wisdom what Sadhguru's going to say. But I just want to... That was a pretty cool...
I'm joking with you. Is that okay? Huh? Question is there.
The side look, when he does that, a clear indication of he knows his surrounding. He can't say no to Sadhguru because I think he's just a genuinely nice person. From looking at the way he responded and how he is now, it seems really nice. The fact that he looks around and then just blinks, I guess it's just to kind of ensure that he doesn't have a reaction. But respect to the boy, respect.
Huh? Question is there, it's a good thing, the question is there. But the question needs sharpness to penetrate. It still doesn't have enough intensity that it can penetrate something. It's right now a casual question. So right now I can tell you something, who you are, but it's not in your experience. If I tell you something which is not in your experience, what can you do? You can believe it?
Okay, I guess… I understand this, I get it. And I may be thinking about it a bit too much, maybe. He says it's not penetrating enough and he can give the answer, but he may not understand it. Again, that's his opinion, not necessarily true of the person. So, in my opinion, he should have he should have answered it. Regardless of the answer, whether the person took the answer, he should have still done that.
Or you can disbelieve it. If you believe it, you are not any closer to it. If you disbelieve it, you're not any closer to it. If you believe me, you can go and tell some fancy positive story. If you disbelieve me, you can go and tell some negative story about me.
See, it's all about me. This is the key. What's funny enough, my garbage people have arrived, so if the noise arises from there, I do apologise. But what he's saying is, I get it. And I would agree with him to a certain degree. But, no offence, these people are asking you a question because they're there to learn from you. You're going round universities doing these things. To say someone's not mature enough, or whether the question's not serious enough, whether the person's ready or not, just give the answer. Someone who wants to give the truth will give the truth. Yeah, they may answer the question differently according to the person, but the truth will be the same. It's definitely not a youth and truth talk, it's something else.
Fancy positive story. If you disbelieve me, you can go and tell some negative story about me, but you have not moved an inch, isn't it? Yeah. So if you genuinely, if this question is burning within you, if tonight, if this question bothers you so much you cannot sleep, you cannot sit, you cannot stand, if it bothers you like that, then you come, I'll give you something else. Come.
Then you come and I'll give you something else. Do you think he'll really be able to approach Sadhguru? The one who's travelling and chilling with the LA crowd? If I was the kid, I would never go to see Sadhguru again. From this video itself, I would say it's enough to say that Sadhguru is a bit disingenuous. I don't know how honest he is as a guru, because at the end of the day, are you saying that you're better than Ramana Maharshi? Because that's what you're implying, that your method is better. Maybe it is. I mean, I don't know, but give your method out. Don't just say, oh, I can give you something better. That's like the carrot and stick analogy, you know. You put the carrot in front of the donkey on the stick and the donkey keeps going forward and a carrot also moves forward. The donkey thinks he's going towards a carrot, but really the same distance is still there. And basically that's all Sadhguru is doing. He's literally giving that same thing of the carrot and stick. Oh, I will give you something better. Oh,
cannot sit, you cannot stand. If it bothers you like that, then you come, I'll give you something else, something totally different.
I will give you something different. I will give you something better. So that's the end of the video. Would I have clapped? No. I think that was a horrible answer. That didn't address the question. That didn't address the needs of the person that asked the question. It was a shame, if I'm honest. There were some odd things that Sadhguru said that I liked, which I mentioned. I can't remember now. But obviously, that's because a lot of what he said is nonsense. Whenever something is not great, this is what happens. He didn't really answer the question. He went round and round. He talked about 3 different places in America: Cincinnati, Minnesota, Los Angeles. That's all I can remember. And then talked about how he can give something different, which implies he can give something better than Ramana Maharshi. I disagree. I think if anybody follows the contemplative method of Ramana Maharshi's Who Am I and self-inquiry, they can get to the truth. Because in essence, with the aid of the Upanishads and the Bhagavad Gita and all the other texts in Hinduism or Tao Te Ching or whatever, you can get there with a sincere method, with a sincere effort on your behalf, and having someone that can guide you there, who can give you the attention to get there. Sadhguru is not going to be hand-holding that boy's hand. If the boy turns around and says, I want that 21-minute practice, all Sadhguru is going to do is give the practice, then tell him to see one of the instructors or something. He's not going to help the person get there. How many people are using Sadhguru's practice and have become enlightened? This is what I ask. Because at least I know a few that from Ramana, maybe indirectly or directly, from his teachings they have benefited. In my opinion, I was disappointed with this. I was asked to look at this specifically, by the way, and I was hoping to get a better response. I feel that Sadhguru should have answered it a bit more maturely. I think he should have answered it with a lot more depth. And the reason why I'm disappointed is because I know he has that depth. I know that he has that deep knowledge. Or I want to believe he has that deep knowledge. But I feel in this, he didn't show that. So that's a shame. But yeah, that's the end. If you have any other videos that you would like me to look at of Sadhguru or of anyone else, tell me. Write in the comments. Send me the links. Contact me on social media. Let me know. That would be great. Do like, comment and subscribe to this. Follow me on social media if you're not on any of my social media accounts. Do also sign up to my Patreon community. It helps in the running costs of this channel and my podcast. Please take a look at that. Take a look at my podcast and what I've done in terms of my thoughts on the Bhagavad Gita, the wisdom of the mystics, and also general topics around non-duality and also on Advaita Vedanta. Take a look at those things. Have a look at my other reactions to Rupert Spira and to Jim Newman. I have a few other videos lined up that I will be doing reactions to, and I look forward to the next one. Do like, comment and subscribe, and I shall see you again very soon. Take care. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Peace, Peace, Peace. Namaste.